Welcome to the Tech to Exec podcast. We really appreciate you joining. We are having a conversation today with Craig Adams from Rapid7, and he's the Chief Product Officer. And the conversation that you'll hear is just amazing. He talks about really using AI in today's cybersecurity world, what it is to be a product manager and how to own things, his insight into how to talk to executives about technology and what matters to them. You'll find that this conversation is powerful, insightful, and really Craig's way of viewing products and partnerships is something I think you'll find really valuable. Josh, anything that stand out to you?
Yeah, as I was thinking about this, I think this could be one of the most impactful conversations we've had on our podcast in the terms of just these little nuggets of wisdom and knowledge. It's the first time we've had a product officer, really a product manager, I think, on, and it was clear that he knows his stuff. And he's got some nuggets that I think you could really make a big impact on your job, your life, and I mean really everything you're doing. So I think it was a great conversation. I'm excited for everybody to hear it.
We are excited to have you join the Tech to Exec podcast, and it's evolved over time. Really, what we found valuable is just to have a conversation about your experience in the technology industry with a cybersecurity company that's doing so much good, and really even what you found with working with channel partners and
Yeah.
partnerships, and so that's what we would like to explore today. So,
Love it.
everyone, I just want to introduce you to Craig Adams. He's a Chief Product Officer at Rapid7. I'm going to ask him later what Chief Office Product Officer really means.
Yeah, the ordering matters there. The chief office
Yeah,
product is a very different role.
that's, thank you. So
Different kind of company too. Yeah.
what does a chief product officer do, Craig?
So in simple terms, it works with our customers to figure out where their needs are going across the horizon and then aligns the internal resources behind an organization to deliver it.
All right. So for an executive that doesn't, well, I guess that is executive talk. So
Oh,
you're,
I can know. Let me, you asked for the mom definition. Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah, I
we
want the
decide
mom
what to
definition.
build. We decide what to build. It's one of the most exciting roles is when you're working in a technology company and you have the opportunity to help partner with where should we place our investment and treasure of time, and what's going to yield the biggest outcome for our customers. So we focus on what we're going to build.
How do you determine with all the possibilities of what to build? You know, one huge customer is asking for this, 10
Yeah.
small customers are asking for this. How do you even prioritize that?
Yeah, so it starts with and this sounds like executive speak again, but it starts with your strategy, which is one of the biggest mistakes companies can make is building everything that they can. And so it starts a little bit with an organization understanding the why me, why now. And the why me is like, why should someone want to partner and use our stuff? Like, what are we going to be incredible at? And then the why now is, are we actually solving a problem that meets real world problems at the end of the day? No one wants to create something just because you can. It's got to actually deliver value for your customers at the end of the day, or that innovation will be wasted.
And then once you find out, okay, this fits our strategy, these three things fit our strategy, how do you really determine which one to build first? Because
Yeah.
even in my role, I'm like, okay, there's so many good things.
Yeah.
This one's good to these people. Like, is there a strategy there? Or is it more just like, hey, this one feels more right? Like, or do you go through a logical, like, hey, this is what we should build and this is why?
Yeah, so first, once you've got your strategy set, so you got your pillars of where you're going to focus, then that's when you get outside the building. And to be really clear, I'm a big fan of you have to be opinionated, you have to have theses, but great product managers leave the building and they go talk to customers and they don't try to bias them. They don't try to convince them. They present the problems in ways of like, hey, we're debating between building these five different things. Which one do you think we should be focusing on first? And then they ask why five times. So no matter what the answer is, it's not about tallying votes. It's about deeply understanding the why. And then once you've got that, now you've got, I'll call it a validated thesis of what's going to be valuable to build. And then it's about how do you design the right experiences a customer is going to build and the right requirements and get the teams to work to actually build at the end.
I love that.
That's
What?
impressive. And it looks to me as kind of looking back at your history, it looks like you've been doing this product maybe not officially product officer work for quite a while. You joined Rapid7 a couple years ago. Tell us a little bit about how that came about, why you picked Rapid7. I mean, it looked like you've been doing a lot of different things and have a lot of experience in this area.
Yeah, so first, I believe that Rapid7 was uniquely suited to solve one of the modern security problems of our time. So let me be clear. Every company that deals with security has a whole bunch of tools that they operate in. And that siloed data creates a huge problem for customers. It means that little signals don't get connected to broad patterns, and it makes it really hard for defenders to work. And so what I saw at Rapid7 was an opportunity to bring both the reactive and proactive together. So the proactive, how do you prevent incidents before they occur? The reactive is how do you address an incident when it's happening together in a way that can actually prevent attacks before they happen. And that ability to do it in most critically an open platform model, which means you're not arrogant in thinking that your alerts are the only alerts that matter in the world. You're allowing a customer to bring the tools that they want to use and bring it together. That was an opportunity that just was too good to pass up.
That is awesome. So when you say chief product officer is one of the best jobs out there, so if I understand it, you're the CEO of a product coming to market from A to Z, or like do you architect that? You're working with everybody in the company to make the right product, deliver the right product. Where do you find the most challenging parts of that to be? Like where of that
I
whole
don't it's one person's challenge is another person's opportunity. So why don't I frame it in that lens of like what are some of the opportunities presented to someone that goes into this career field? The first is you have ultimate accountability for everything, whether it's under your responsibility or outside of it. And so at the end of the day, if someone doesn't implement the technology in the way that we would intend, if a services person doesn't do something that we would wish at the end of the day, hey, the buck stops with me. I'm accountable for customer outcomes at the end. And so a willingness to just assume accountability that the buck stops with you then means you become an effective cross-functional leader throughout the organization because you know that it's not just about the code and tech we build, it's about the partners that we have and we enable. It's about the delivery arm that delivers on top of that. It's all comes together, but it's a lot of fun at the end.
how do partnerships play into your thinking from when you're developing that product to thinking about partnerships?
Yeah, a critical role. So to be explicit, Rapid7 is a partner-first company. Virtually everything we do is from the channel. And so that means we have to think through of how are we going to enable both the security outcomes we want, but it to be a way that's effectively managed by our partners at the end. Because customers are looking to the partners that they choose at the end to own everything in their portfolio. They're looking for that end-to-end accountability. And so it means you have to think of serviceability up front. You have to think of how do you manage multi-tenancy and the right level of access controls that you need to go through. And then it spends a lot of time with training and enablement. I'll say one kind of final point though is good product design also focuses on something just being easy and intuitive. Which in the security world, there's a lot of learned lessons about how to make things easy and intuitive. But I argue that's one of the ways that you make your products partner friendly is just by making them easy to use.
I love that. We weren't a strong partner several years ago, but whatever you've done over the last couple of years, and I'm not saying that because you've been there for 2 years,
Oh
has
no, hey, this one, correlation or causation, it's clear from my perspective. But
yeah,
continue, please.
it has been a great partnership for the last couple years, and it's resonated with our customers, and they've loved going there. And I'm asking my team why, like we weren't a great partner. Why are people migrating to that? And they just say they solve a lot of problems and they're really good to work with. So thank you for having a team and a product that does that. Sometimes we get to the end of these and I haven't expressed my gratitude. We do not exist as Valcom to help our clients if it's not for great partnerships and vendors like yourself. And we need you. And the better you do, the better we do, and the better our clients are taken care of. So really thank you. What you do matters to us and to so many people. And it's been great, but I would love to hear from you. Like, why do you think you're winning? I mean, like, if
Yeah,
you were to boil that down, I'm just curious. And I don't know, besides what my team says, they're
yeah,
great to work with and they solve the client's problems. I'm wondering where you see you winning. Like, why
yeah.
is
There's a few things. So first, let me hit it in order. Customers want choice in what they use and how they operate. So I believe religiously open platforms will win over closed platforms. Um, those people that provide the products and services that enable customers to make the choices they want without vendor lock-in is number one. So the open platform technical approach we have. Um, it's not lost that you could use Rapid7 for cloud and someone else for on-prem and still see all of your exposure as prioritized by risk across your environment. And we're not prioritizing one or the other in how we present to you. So that open platform is the first. The second is we go through great pains to remove some of the absurdity that the security industry brings to customers. I'll give like a specific example to make this real. In the SIM space, there was a grand vision of you bring all of your data together, and when all of your data together is you can quickly correlate it, group it together, see the trends across your environment. And what's the first thing that SIM vendors do? Is they start charging you in ways that encourage you not to put all of your data into the system.
Mm.
They actually financially disincent you. And so every company immediately then starts paring down and having to manage the cost of their tool, which is not what security teams need to do. So the second one is we try to come up with easy to use practices for our customers of how do we make it easy for them to both adopt and be successful. We don't charge overages when someone goes more and uses a little bit more than they thought they were going to do. That I'll call it partnership approach mindset builds long-term loyalty. But the final one is we're in a model where customers are trying to connect dots across environments. Let me use just a little example that makes it obvious, but it's the challenge that every customer faces when there's a malicious alert that pops in. So there's behavior detected on your machine. Does it matter that your machine has a vulnerability that's currently being exploited in the wild? Of course it does at the end of the day. That's critical context that allows you to make faster prioritization decisions. But Rapid7 is the only company that brings that risk-aware view into your threat environment. And so I think there's a few things we're doing. Am I saying we're perfect? Oh gosh, no. We have a lot of areas we got to continue to improve, but we're starting out from what's best from our customers, what's best for our partners together. And that's going to set us a little bit of a different path than an arrogant security vendor, which some others fall into that bucket.
Yeah, I think that I love that. And I think it probably explains a lot of why working together has been so effective the last year or two, or since we've really partnered, is that I think our account managers and our customers, we really are looking for that long-term relationship, right? And being able to sell a product that works, that delivers on these
Yeah.
things, that again, I think to your point, that we're not incentivizing the customer to use it less, right?
Yeah.
I think such a different approach to allow our security engineers and everybody to just fall in love with a product that really is solving a problem for our customers. And so we really appreciate that, and I think it speaks to how the success that we're having.
Well,
So
and I just want to compliment you on your success as an organization. I mean, being named the Fast 50 of Utah businesses for 2025, the upcoming IT Exchange event. I think you're going to have 1,000 people at on April 29th. Those are numbers that say you're building partnerships with your customers as well, and you've gone beyond the supplier vendor relationship, and you're a trusted advocate for them.
Well, thank you. There's been a huge need for cybersecurity with our client base, and as we've found the best partnerships, it's really changed how we can service them, understanding their environment. We have a lot of great engineers that help us understand and then their environment and then match it to the right solution. I'm just trying to think through the cybersecurity vendors and how you have huge closed platform vendors
Yeah,
and then you have the open platform vendors.
yeah.
And I'm wondering if I should be challenging or how you think about the closed platform versus the open platform strategy. Because I think customers are choosing both. Any
Choosing
insight
both.
into why one should choose the other, or is it just the mindset? Like some people want to be closed in the closed Apple versus the open Microsoft. Like how
Oh,
do you
yeah.
argue that? How do you argue this is the
Yeah.
best way?
No, I think it comes out of what you're optimizing for. So let's be super clear. There are very successful closed platform companies out there. Um, but no one wants to work with that. Like if I actually use the Apple mindset example, if I told you you have a choice that it's hard to text people that have a different phone, would you choose that at the end of the day? Of course not. Of course not. And so I think the difference in framing goes back to core values of an organization at the end. I argue when you're an open platform, you're focused on what's best for your customers at the end of the day first. And from that, that permeates through the products you build, the service mindset you have, how your sellers sell at the end of the day. On the flip side, if you're operating a closed platform, you know what you're doing, and you're doing it to just enrich your own organization. They're two different strategies. Both can be successful in how they operate. I do have a strong opinion of which one I'd rather work at, though.
And which one we'd rather buy.
That's right.
Yeah.
And which one you'd rather buy at the end of the day. And the truth is, even a closed platform, um, no one technology provider does everything at the end of the day. And so what's really happening is people aren't selecting one platform, they're selecting a few at the end. And so the question becomes, hey, do you want to manage the bridge across those multiple, or do you want to have some sort of aggregated way that you can bring things together?
Yeah. Are there partnerships where what's making partnerships work? Because you now have to partner with these other competitors
Sure.
sometimes. Like
Yeah.
how do those discussions go? Like, and how is that difficult? And how does that make even the client happier? Like, tell us
Oh,
about that experience.
well, the good news is the decision to partner with Rapid7 or not is solved at the API layer. And so oftentimes with what we want to do, vendors have to create open APIs for their customers to be able to use their products in the way that they intend. And so, for example, take our chasm ability or the ability to look across your environment to uncover either assets or inconsistent policies that you've got. That's one where you don't have to choose to partner with us in the grand scheme of things. You've probably already built that ability into your product because your customers demanded it at the end of the day.
Okay. So you don't
Makes
have
sense.
to really collaborate too often with people you're competing against. The economics of a part of the product make it so they're
Correct.
all collaborating.
Correct. And I think, in fairness, it's in those closed providers' best interest as well. Because take, for example, I'm a closed platform. If I wouldn't let someone put my data into their SIM, that would cause someone to not want to work with me at the end of the day. And so I think companies are going to make the decisions their customers demand, and the ability for a customer to access their own data from different tools and then put it in, have visibility and prioritization across others, that's going to be a core staple at the end.
Yeah. As you look at the product now and what you've done and what you're looking, what can you share with us about kind of what's next on the horizon for Rapid7 in terms of product
Yeah.
capabilities and those types of things?
Yeah, I think there's a few things. So, first, there's a whole bunch of things we're announcing here at RSA, which are really exciting. But let me try to focus on a theme itself. I'm spending a lot of time in what we're defining as a preemptive MDR service. And let me define what the definition was. So, the old school definition of MDR alerts come in, we'll manage it, do the detection response, and then triage across your organization. Organizations are kind of tired of the strategy is how do I effectively manage all the alerts that come in? What they're actually looking for is technology that guides them on how to be secure up front. Let me give just an example of what a preemptive MDR does. First, it may look at the detections you currently have configured for your environment, evaluating its MITRE, and come back with gaps and essentially guide you on how to increase your service posture at the end of the day.
Hmm.
If you have a vulnerability in your environment that's currently being exploited in the wild, it's a common theme that comes up, by the way. It may do a proactive threat hunt across your data to see if there's any indicators of compromise inside of it. And so we're spending a lot of time within this notion of how do I anticipate what's going to happen and then work with customers through technology to put in the preventive controls that essentially preempt at the end of the day. And so I'm really bullish on what the opportunity has. And what it also signals is you only can do this if you have a unique view of the exposures across an environment, as well as operating in detection response. And that's the unique thing that Rapid7 brings that sets us apart from a technical perspective than many other organizations.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Are
And something I haven't really heard, and certainly something I think as I imagine what it could be, something our customers could absolutely use, right? And it's exciting.
Absolutely.
Are you taking this call from RSA right
I
now?
am. I am.
Thank
Greetings,
you.
RSA.
Thank you.
I was like, so it's 3:30. Well, thank you for taking the time out of RSA. I'm flying out there tomorrow morning, so
Ah,
I'll be there because
oh, we could have done it together, side by side.
yeah, we don't have that recording quite done yet. How is AI playing into that proactive MDR, or even how you're thinking about all of this?
Yeah.
And because some of our, I shouldn't say vendors, a lot of what's out there is just we all have to say we're doing AI, and some people use it for just
ML
getting stuff.
relabeled. Yeah.
Yeah, yes. So tell me
ML.
how it really should be used, how you're using it, how you think leaders should be thinking about it.
Sure. So first, I do like to start out talking about the difference between AI and relabeled ML on the grand scheme of things. Hey, machine learning has been around for all time. If we're calling it something different, that's great. We'll all use the same words. But I think there's two things, which should be clear, is first, um, I have a few philosophies, and then I'm going to hit your question directly about what customers should expect and demand from AI that they're using. And I'm talking about true AI at the end of the day. The first is as more and more things are done by machines versus humans, transparency will be key. And I don't mean transparency in verdicting and then transparency in rationale. That's ML. That's existed for all time. I actually mean transparency into work product. So imagine you have an alert comes in and you have artificial intelligence triage and determine if that alert's malicious. It's kind of unacceptable, frankly, to have the end work output be not malicious, here's why, malicious, here's why. You actually should be able to show the work of what you actually did to reach that conclusion. Um, and so that ability to see the agentic steps that it went through, because that's how you're going to build trust in the outcome as well. Because a black box approach to AI, I believe, brings business risk for an organization. And is something that can be solved through design of how people are writing. So that's one of our guiding principles of Rapid7 is show work product. And that way your customers can continually help make it better. With that being said, we are in a whole new world of the ability to do tasks that humans do at machine speed to benefit our customers. We know that adversaries have absolutely adopted AI to move faster. Could look at time from exploit to exfiltration, or excuse me, a time from a vulnerability being created to being exploited in the wild. That is shrinked each year, and now it's measured in hours instead of days. So we know adversaries are using it to go faster. Defenders have to do the same thing. And so we have to be looking at AI to how do we identify things across our environment. We have to be looking at to do the type of things such as quarantine assets automatically. Maybe you still want a human involved for remediation, but we're going to have to be much more aggressive about it. There's a few different tracks we've taken to Rapid7. First is the ability to do proactive hunting for a customer so you can detect issues before they occur. That's what the preemptive MDR service is all about. The second is how do you help customers protect their own AI use? This looks at everything from discovering AI use that they may or not be aware of their environment to the application security protection. So OWASP top 10, am I even building my apps in the right way using the best practice and standards when it uses AI or ML across my environment? And then the third, of course, is securing the environments themselves that they run in. So great, I'm using Bedrock. Do I have the right permissions and right configuration set up across the environment? So we looked at it both of protect with AI and how do we help organizations protect their own AI infrastructure, and the flip side of defend. At RSA, the word AI is everywhere. Um, but where I've really tried to push people to look for is, are they looking for a chatbot? Because with all respect, I think Google solved that one a while ago of my ability to ask a question and get an answer, or OpenAI, or pick your choice of providers. Um, or are you actually looking for task automation? And if you're looking for task automation, that means you've got to have all of your data in one place. You've got to have the orchestration capabilities like our SOAR platform provides. And then you have to have the right remediation capabilities, which our detection response service provides as well. So I think we're set up in the AI age to help automate things for our customers in ways they're going to love.
Love that. Thank you.
That's
As
cool.
you've looked at your leadership career, and I'm changing, yeah, changing direction quite a bit. As you look at coaching or mentoring
Yeah.
other people coming through the leadership ranks of technology, what would you say to like watch for or learn? Maybe a story of where you learned your biggest lesson on how to work with people. I mean, you're really quarterbacking so many different areas and getting people to work together. Any experience come to mind that that you could share with us?
I think there's a few. I mean, the first is my career advice to everyone always starts with number one, volunteer to own things. And that often gets misinterpreted as volunteer to help. We don't need helpers, we need owners at the end of the day. So, what is someone going to own at the end of the day? Um, just to come up with a simple example, imagine you have a new employee starting and someone's like, yes, I'll help you ramp them. That's not what you need. The person that says, hey, I will own making that new employee successful, then that is a whole different mindset and approach to the working world. So first is owners, owners, owners. The second is to always be curious. And in a world where we're increasingly polarized in so many ways, when there's a disagreement, seek to understand why and do it authentically, not in a defensive way. Check your posture, check your tone, check if you're actually seeking to understand or if you're trying to make a point in the questions you're asking. And if you do that, the third is own mistakes, which is as humans, we're all going to make mistakes at the end of the day. And so if you make one, look the person in the eye, say, I made a mistake. I apologize. Here's the consequence I know it had on you. I'm going to learn from that and then move on. And so it's almost the stop being afraid, own things, be curious about it. And if you screw up, show your integrity through how you handle it.
So besides telling someone just to own their mistakes, any way you can actually teach them? And I am asking that like my kids, like, hey, can you just own, like, just say you made a mistake? Anything you've learned on how to get people to say, like, just own that? Because that's not something I can teach people very well. I would love to know how you taught them that.
Well, I feel like I've learned so much of how to be a better at work from my two teenagers, 18 and 16.
All right.
I realize the words that I say don't matter. It's the actions I do. And so there's nothing I'm going to say to people about owning my mistakes that's going to create a culture of it, or owning their mistakes rather. The only way I'm going to do it is by owning it myself. Um, and usually, if someone is both consistent about it and shows that it's okay to make mistakes and that we move on, you notice the pattern that emerges at the end of the day. That normally you start to see a reflection, a mirror of the behaviors that people see around. That's the beautiful power of leadership of how do we not just decide what we're going to do, but actually influence the way they work and the hearts and minds that people bring to it.
Well said.
That's
Thank you.
awesome. Hopefully Mike can figure out how to implement that with his kids.
Yeah, I know this is a technology discussion, but I definitely need help across the board
See, the
in
problem, the
that.
problem with, excuse me, the opportunity that kids bring is the feedback loops that we tend to get are different from our families than what would maybe consider normal, appropriate workplace behavior at the end. So I think that's one of the opportunities again that children have is it makes you dive deep for intrinsic motivation because Lord knows we're not going to get the positive affirmation,
Yeah,
this introspective self-reflection from others at the end.
Our father was in the military and he got up to be pretty high and he started Valcom. So Valcom started 43 years ago and he was always in the National Guard and he got up to be like a lieutenant colonel and so at work people would do what he said um and the army they would do what he said and he said it was really humbling to come home and none of us did what he would say and the feedback loop there was very helpful for him to realize that what did he realize? He just said that was very helpful to keep to keep him not knowing that everyone would do what he said. So I think, yeah, they definitely play a.
This is an area we have in common. I grew up in a military family as well as extensive family roots in southern Utah. So,
Oh, really?
yeah, yeah. Came up with
Where?
ranching families. One grandfather's a cattle rancher, the other is a sheep rancher, and I married a vegan. It's all funny if you
there you go.
laugh.
That is great.
Now, where do you live? Where are you?
Boston based, but specifically Cedar City, Utah. I have had
Yeah.
generations of family that were from there and attended Utah State as well. But
Yeah, I noticed that you went
I
to
was
Utah
told
State.
college rivalries was just off the table for this conversation and inappropriate to bring up.
Oh, you can bring them up.
Uh,
We're great
we're
with that. I
happy that
know
you won a game this
Utah
year.
State. We were cheering for Utah State, even though I chose Arizona. Aren't do you know any hows down in Cedar City?
I
That
don't, but I know
okay.
a large number of Adamses, a significant number of them, in fact, in the town, as well as the Lay family. including
Okay.
one of the early co-founders of Southern Utah University or SUU.
Okay.
So it's quite
Okay, I
a
didn't know you
generation
had
back.
Utah. I should have done more research.
I know.
Okay.
We like
We
Utah.
can get off topic real fast when we start talking about Utah, so it's
Well,
probably good
that's
we
okay.
wait
Hey, the
until the
next
end.
podcast, we
Yeah.
can dive through off the beaten path in Utah, our favorite places.
That's right. Well,
The north end and the south end. I like it.
That's right.
other question or anything you would want executives to know. So one of our things is we have our CIOs that we talk to, our IT decision makers. They're trying to decide on technologies.
Yeah.
Then they decide. Then they take it to their executives. The
Yeah.
executives don't understand
Yeah.
always the risks. And I think you bring a very unique perspective, being a chief product officer. I won't say that wrong. Chief office
Officer
productizer.
products. Yep.
Yeah. What could you like? What would you say as you've watched that dynamic? What would you share with an IT manager, CIO, on how to talk about the technology so that executives can understand the importance of that? What have you seen work? What
Yeah.
directions would you give around that?
Yeah. So first, I mean, let's start with the thing that all of us know, but we rarely say out loud. No CEO wants to buy another tool. So it's actually the lean out. As soon as you say there's something else I want to buy, you've got a defensive posture. And so step one is stop talking about the product, start talking about the current state and the future state. And make that really clear to an organization of like, look, here's how we operate today. Here's how I want to operate in the future. And then I bridge the way through it. Too many of the times I will see someone walk through and be like, we need to buy a X. And then you're automatically leaning back, you're on the defensive. People then start talking about the features of the X. Uh, no leader wants to hear about the features. They want to hear about here's how we operate today. We as an organization operate today. Here's how we're going to operate in the new world. That's what I want to align on. Then we can talk about how I'm going to do it first. So first align them to the end state of where you're going. Then you can talk about the how and what the tool does and why you pick that particular supplier. But never until you get to the current state and the future state, align to that, authentic alignment with that. Then you can talk about how you're going to do it. That's an entirely different way versus I'm upgrading our blank, and let me tell you why we're going to pay more and switch providers at the end of their tools.
I'm going to implement this because I have a hard time convincing our CEO of the new
Mm.
product I need to buy. So this is really helpful advice for me, for the
I
record.
just think it's sometimes we get so caught up with I'll call it our needs that we
Mhm.
forget that the leadership that we're presenting to have needs themselves and they care about their organization's success just as much as you do. Um, and from that point, what they really want to know is what outcomes they get out of it. So let's talk about the outcomes. Then we can go back into the how we're getting there.
Is that something you've seen somebody learn as a client or as a even a partner like us? And how did they get to that? Is that just through experience? Is that through coaching? Is that through yeah, how do people accelerate that learning? Because I think that is a skill, right? I mean, it's a skill
Yeah.
to talk through. This is the outcome we want. I don't see Josh being able to come to me tomorrow and say, Mike, here's the outcome. That's why we need to buy Rapid7, and me saying
Well, it's
yes.
such a good value. That just sells itself, though. So I mean,
Yeah.
that you could just send
Easy,
the
easy
email.
sell.
Yeah, sell it. So first, I have higher confidence in Josh. I'm not stepping into the sibling rivalry. I'm rising above aggressively. I
Love it.
actually think most IT managers actually learn that from the partners they work with. To be really direct, I think
Mhm.
all human behavior is modeled at the end of the day. It's what we see is what we imitate, and so. Anyone that's learned it has learned it from watching, observing someone else. And that's the role that I think partners bring. And so if I look at one of the reasons you all are growing so aggressively, it's because you take an authentic consultative role with your customers that you're working with at the end of the day. You're not trying to sling in the next piece of product or technology. You're probably advising them in some cases not to buy something if it's not the right time or not a good ROI for their organization. And so I believe most companies get this from the partners they choose to work with. That's how they see it modeled and that's how they see it learned.
That's a good insight. I think some of our account managers and account executives. They've worked here for 19, 20-ish years.
20 plus, yeah.
And
Amazing.
they say, I like it because we don't ever have to sell anything our customers don't really want and need. And
Yeah.
so it fits their personality, their values of I'm really just helping I'm really helping our clients, and the part I own is bringing the right technology and presenting it, and if it fits, great, and very consultative, and we never have to hit a certain quota by the end of the quarter, and so we really are aligned with the long-term interests of our clients, and it makes a difference, and so
It
I
makes
like
a
you
big
point that out.
difference when you as an organization own actually your customer success at the end. And that's how you redefine it, which is, are they happy? Are they more successful than they were in the past? Then you get at the seat at the table. Because I often think, particularly in a world of security, being here at RSA right now, there are 92 new Gartner acronyms coming your way, 55 new tools that someone believes they need to buy. Good partners help their customers cut through the noise and build a maturity journey for their organization so that they're not feeling that they have to buy the newest acronym. They're rather looking at, based on this individual customer's maturity journey and where they're at, here's the right thing to do next. And then, by the way, here's the right thing to do after that. And you can follow the customer's lead of how fast they move through that journey.
Love that. Any thoughts on RSA, what people should be looking for, how they cut through all the noise, and anything you would suggest for people going through RSA?
Yeah. So first, one of the incredible things about RSA is just the innovation happening in the industry right now. And that's alive at Rapid7 and that's alive in the security ecosystem. My counsel is always clear, which is number one, partner with organizations who are putting your interests first in how they operate. And that sounds like a cliche, but it shows up in a whole bunch of ways in how they both price, package, build strategies of they're delivering. The second is, in an AI-driven world, transparency is everything. It's literally where the buck stops. And I think organizations that embrace, they want to see work product, like they don't just want the outcome, the ML relabeled as AI with a justification, but like show me the steps you took in a way that I can inspect. Um, they're going to find the highest adoption of AI capabilities, and they're going to get the most efficiencies gained. The final one is, we're still in a phase of vendor consolidation. So for all the
Mm.
new fancy things that were happening, most of the people I speak to are still trying to address the tool sprawl in their environment. And they're not just trying to address it from a purely economic perspective. That's there. They're really trying to address it because data silos don't work in security. It doesn't work if I have part of the things that protect me here, part somewhere else, part somewhere else. It only works when I can integrate everything together. And so find vendors and partners you're working with that allow you to consolidate tools as opposed to add one more in.
That's so
Great advice.
insightful. Thank you. What, Josh, what else before
I,
we
you know,
thank and let him go back to RSA? I just
I
appreciate your time.
I know, right? It's been great. We haven't had anybody take us to this from RSA, but we appreciate you. And I think
I appreciate the partnership as well.
yeah, I mean it's just been awesome. And I don't know that I have any other questions today for Craig that won't keep us here for a couple more hours. So I think we just really appreciated you having here, Craig. And if there's anything kind of last thing you want to tell our listeners, we'd love to hear it from you.
I'll offer just one, maybe two final comments. The first is, if you haven't signed up for IT Exchange yet, you gotta go. 1,000 people together. It's a great opportunity to learn. The second is, I'll try to reinforce the mantra of be an owner. Don't help exist and be the type of person that owns things. Whether you're in sales and you're owning your customer success and how you operate, whether you're inside of an organization and you're owning, helping ramping a new peer, or excuse me, owning the ramp of a new peer, or if they're in software development and you own the product and your customers' outcomes that they get out of it. Be an owner in everything you do. And through that, it's such a fun time to be alive and working in cybersecurity.
Well, thank you
Thanks,
so
Craig.
much. And just so you know, the things that you've said, I'm actually like super excited to implement and to share with others. I think you've shared some very, very insightful things, and thank you so much for spending the time with us. And
It's great to be here. Thanks for having me.
all right,
Thanks,
appreciate
Craig.
it,
All
Greg.
right, go Aggies.
Yes.
I love it.
Take care.
See ya.
See ya.
Bye.